Man, that was a good video. Welcome, everybody, to episode 2 of Industry of Impact, a LinkedIn Live series and podcast that is really meant to shine a light on people who are making a positive impact on people, on companies, on communities. You know, from industrial to tech to food and beverage, consumer goods, there are a lot of people out there who are doing good things. And the bottom line is we just love talking to them. So my name is Mark Berger, and I'm the VP of Marketing for AMI. I have a couple of co-hosts today. Bill Allen is our VP of Sales and Marketing for AMI, and our CEO, Julian Meir.
Hey, everyone.
Today is all about our guest. She is the CEO and founder of Brodo and Grow with Erica. Please welcome Erica Rankin.
Thank you. Thanks for having me.
Absolutely. How are you today?
I'm good. It's a little gloomy here in Toronto, but it's good. It's Wednesday, Thursday. It's Thursday. It's a good Thursday.
That's sign number one that you're a busy CEO is what day is it, right? You know, before we kind of dig in a little bit into your story and what you're doing now, I'm just really curious, what was your morning like? What's your morning routine? I'm sure, since I did a little bit of looking into you, I'm sure first maybe some cuddling with Toby, your cat, right? Feeding Toby. But what is your morning routine like? What have you done today up until this point?
You did your homework. I love that. Actually, so my dad, it's a funny story. I've moved a bunch of times, and I moved back at my dad's last year, and he kind of took Toby in, and I moved again, and I was going to take him away, but my dad loves this cat so much, and I could not take him away. So my dad now has Toby, and I visit Toby like probably once every few months. I really miss him. But I guess my morning, so I wake up, I usually do a strength training or a Pilates class. I've been waking up really early, which is kind of not usually my thing, but I get up around 5:45, which is crazy. And then I go to this class, and then I come home, make breakfast, listen to a podcast, sometimes journal. I don't always journal. And then I head to my co-working space and work throughout the day, and then go home. So that's kind of what I do on a good day. Not all days are like that.
Right. I got you. Very good. Good. Bill, you want to ask what you got?
Yeah, I had admittedly a bit starstruck in here, Eric. I've watched you kind of come up through, and it's been an extraordinary journey. So I've enjoyed watching it. And I was wondering, when you first decided to do this, what was the reaction from friends and family when you said, I'm going to start a cookie dough company, right? That's a very interesting company to start.
Yeah, first off, thank you so much. No, that means a lot to me. And it's my parents, they supported me and they love me, but they did not understand it. I think I remember when I was like mocking up my logo and like telling my dad what I was doing. He's like, "You're doing what? Cookie dough?" And again, like, cookie dough is so niche, and there's some generations that don't really understand it or didn't really eat it. It's kind of like a Gen Z millennial thing, I find. And they don't really eat cookie dough, they eat cookies. So they're like, why are you building your whole life around something that we don't even eat? And I'm like, I eat it, I like it. So they didn't really understand, but they supported me. And then I think they started to really support me when they saw the money coming in and the audience I was building, the customers eating my product. And then I had some friends who supported me, but again, didn't understand. And I'm still friends with them. And I think like the people that I have around me now have businesses. So we're like are supportive of each other. And I think that makes all the difference. But it was really tough at the beginning, I think.
Very interesting.
So my generation, as it relates to cookie dough, is you snuck a little bit of cookie dough while cookies were being, made, and it was slap the hand, get out of there. That's not good for you. But that's an old generation. So very different.
So it's got raw eggs in it, Mark. You can't eat that.
So obviously there are the supporters and the haters whenever you start anything, especially as a young entrepreneur. So what were some of the things that you did maybe through some of the tough times, some of the mentality things that you used to stay on track? Because obviously as a young entrepreneur and starting up a company, you put on your hat and you turn it in every single direction every day, playing all the roles. And what were some of the things that you did to, keep your mental state and keep positivity and keep things moving forward in the beginning during the rough times?
There were times when I honestly thought I was gonna quit. I feel like it looks like I had it all together the whole time, but I really didn't. There were some really dark moments, and I think having like coaches or mentors or people you can go to has really helped me. And then I'm like kind of the person who I love quotes, and I have sticky notes, and I have quotes written on my mirrors in my bedroom. I have one that says "Outlast the temporary," and that's Ed Milet. He's a really incredible entrepreneur that I follow, and Andy Frisella, and they just have all these really powerful, impactful quotes, and just having them everywhere, even in the dashboard of my car, having sticky notes and stuff, just kind of helps remind me. And I think when you hit the highs, the peaks, the mountains, the peak of the roller coaster, and you have that high and everything's going right and everything's worth it. You journal and you make note of that. And then even the lows, you journal, you make note of that. And then you flip through and you're like, wow, I remember when that sucked and I got through it. And this sucks and I'm going to get through it. So I think that's really important too, is just having a track record and having that there to visit when you need it,
Yeah, definitely. No, it's definitely interesting. The mindset I used to, not in this office, but in my old office, I literally had an entire wall that was covered in various quotes and then some of the moments that I had taken down, because it's so easy to forget and get so tunnel visioned in on one negative thing and kind of let it suck you down.
Yeah.
So that's cool.
Okay, so here's what I don't get, because I am pretty old. I'm 53, and I heard and read about you at 23 years old, sitting in a cubicle, no windows, unhappy people around you, that whole setup, with a degree in psychology, and you make a decision to do something radically different. So what did you do, and how in the world did you come to that decision?
I think it was because I was so miserable and I just didn't want to live my life the way I currently was. And I was getting really, I was just going through the motions. I was working, it's funny, I was working a job that the prerequisite was to have an undergraduate degree. We know they're not cheap, right? You go to school for 4 years, you get your degree, then you get a job. So I got this job and I thought I'd be getting paid all this money, and I was getting paid literally minimum wage with no benefits on a contract. And then I look over at my sister who she's incredible. She dropped out of college and she was working at a grocery store and she was doing better than me. And I was like, this is so messed up. So I ended up quitting. I was also working at a bakery at the same grocery store that she worked at and that my friends worked at and that my friends' siblings worked at, super small town. Everyone worked at this grocery store. And then I did personal training on the side, and I just said enough. I need to find one thing that fulfills me and where I feel like I'm living my life with purpose. And I went backpacking, I went traveling, and then that's kind of when I got inspired to start a business. But it was all triggered by podcasts that I listened to at my 9-to-5 desk job.
Okay. Yeah, I'm blown away, but I'm just blown away by the mindset, because, like I said, in my elderly age, people sit at that cubicle for their whole career before maybe they've had that thought many times, but they're like, no way. So it's inspiring, and I'm sure one of the reasons you do inspire so many people is because it's inspiring that you took an action, that you actually stepped out and did it. So kudos.
Yeah, absolutely.
Thank you.
All right, I have another one. Bill doesn't have one.
Yes. Yeah, I have a quick one. This will probably be pretty quick for her. What's your toughest challenge since you started this, if there is one?
I could write a whole book. Honestly, I think like the thing that's like hard for me is like I know what I'm good at and I know what I'm not good at, and operations, obviously, like the numbers, all of that stuff. I'm okay at it, but I don't enjoy it. And when you don't enjoy something, you don't do it well, you know? So I'm really good at marketing, storytelling, building community, and I know that I'm good at that. I don't have an ego or anything. I know what I suck at, and operations is just not it. So I guess growing the company, and I'm excited to like start putting hats on other people rather than me like switching 9,000 hats every day, because it kind of gets old and tiring and it's not sustainable. So
Very good. Thank you.
How do you feel about that whole side of it, the managing people? Like that's another world in and of itself. What's your feeling about getting into that whole side of it?
it's funny because I just like, yeah, the business side has grown and stuff, but I never realized how big of a personal development journey it is as well. Like you're constantly stepping into new roles and learning how to do different things, and like you have to learn so much about yourself in the process. And kind of accept things, like, you know, like put your ego aside and work on the things that you need to work on and know where your weak spots are. And I've never been an employer before. So the fact, like, I've been interviewing people, I just hired another employee and he started earlier this week. But again, it's like, you know, it's just new stuff that I have to learn and get comfortable with. And I have really incredible mentors and friends that I go to for advice and stuff. And it's exciting, but it's scary. And I don't know, it's just like this big evolution of changes. Always. There's always changes.
Yep. Very true. Very true. Do you see any correlation? I saw that you were, you know, into fitness for a long time, and it sounds like you still are. Is there any correlation for you with your fitness and kind of the mentality that you have to use, like if you're, you know, competing and doing fitness, you know, every day, that you've carried over into your business life, and some of that motivation and determination to get through the highs and lows?
Yeah, it comes down, it's like master the monotony, right? Like it's like you have to do the basic things every day. And that was like the mindset I had when I was doing my prep for like bodybuilding and stuff. Like the days where you don't want to do anything are the days that matter most, and they're going to push you like the most far, essentially. I think a lot of those habits kind of carried over to my business side of things, and I just have like the non-negotiables personally and the non-negotiables for the business, and there's always things that you have to do. And the discipline, like it trumps all. Like motivation is like kind of this thing that everyone's like, oh, you're so motivated, I wish I was so motivated. I'm like, no, I literally am not motivated at all. Some days I'm miserable and I don't want to do anything, but I just force myself to, right? Even with like working out, it's like the Mel Robbins, like the 5, 4, 3, 2, 1 thing. Like you wake up and you're like, okay, I'm not even going to give myself time to make excuses. I'm getting out of bed and I'm going. And then you get out the door and then your brain doesn't understand what's going on and you're already there. So that's kind of what I do.
Yep. I think that's good advice. It's like people get stuck so much in the minutia and like thinking about the negative instead of just like going out and doing it and keeping their eye on what they're looking to do, that it just weighs them down. So that's cool that you carried over that mindset.
Okay. I'm a marketing guy, so I'm inspired and a little jealous of you. So over 50,000 followers on LinkedIn, over 200 followers on TikTok, almost 10,000 followers on Instagram. How did you know that you were going to go that route, that it was going to excite you? Or did you just jump in and realize, wow, this is an incredible way to market the business? How did you, or did someone say you need to go do this? How did that evolve?
I think it was like out of a need. I think I posted about this today. When I launched my business, I just thought like, okay, you launch a business and people are going to order from you like right away, you know, and they're going to find you and they're going to buy your stuff and they're going to buy it again and again. That's not how it works, right? So you have to like market it. And I was like, what's marketing? I don't know what that is. Oh, people spend money on ads. Why? You know? So, and I didn't have the budget for that. So I was like, okay, how can I get creative and like put myself out there? Because I can't outsource anything. And I literally was the child who hated getting my photo taken. Like I have a picture of me in my living room and like, I think 3 different pictures. I'm like this, like I hated my picture being taken. And it's funny because now everything has changed. I'm like always behind the camera, you know, on the other side of things. And I appear to be very comfortable with it, but I never used to be. Like I remember someone told me to be bigger than you are, right? Pretend to be bigger than you are. So I remember going on Instagram Live, Instagram stories, talking to my 200 followers, being like, oh my gosh, you guys, we sold out. We have a restock coming. And, you know, like talking a big game. And eventually it kind of grew into what it is. But TikTok is interesting because my good friend Jill, she has a company called Paper Shoe Camera, and she got on there and she started posting TikToks. And then she had a bunch go viral and she was selling out of inventory. And I was watching all of this happen, and she was picking and packing and shipping from her house as well. We were in like the same boat together. And I was looking at this happening and I said, oh, you know what? I need to get on this dancing app and just get over it, you know? And so I went on there and I started posting stuff. And sure enough, I had one video blow up and I got like 150 orders in like less than 2 days. And I messaged Jill and I was like, can you come over and help me fold boxes? So we like sat in my living room, folded boxes, stored them on the balcony because it was winter at the time. And and then ever since it just kind of snowballed and grew into what it is today. And it's just so much opportunity for organic reach.
Yeah. Do you have any opinions on TikTok for business to business compared to business to consumer?
Yeah, it's totally doable. The people that you're trying to reach, like obviously it'll be smaller, but it's just a matter of putting out the right content. And then once you reach the right person, you ride that momentum and then you continue to put out content and you'll continue to reach them. And I always tell people it's better to have like 5,000 followers that love you, know you, support you, purchase from you than 500,000 who don't know who you are, right? And don't support you really in the same way. So focusing on like the engagement ratio rather than the views, because people get caught up on the views a lot and they don't matter.
Yep. Very true.
Awesome. I want to talk flavors because I'm already looking at 2023 when it comes to the US. So are you looking outside the box at any like chili lime or espresso? Like, are we looking at like getting out there a little bit and doing some different flavors?
I don't know about chili lime. Yeah, I had someone request like a hummus flavor, like a I don't even remember what it was. It was very interesting, like savory ones. And I guess so it's interesting. Like when I started the company, I had like at one point I think I had 15 flavors because I would just go in the kitchen and like, you know, I'd be like, okay, I'm gonna make 100 jars today, and I would make 100 jars of this flavor, and you know, like take the pictures in my apartment. And now it's like, oh, you have to do a minimum run of like 2,000 units and then order like 20,000 containers. And so it's a lot harder to make moves. But as I grow, like 100%, I'm looking at doing like exclusive drops for like different seasons and maybe collaborating with like other influencers or brands or co-branding, or like, I think there's lots of opportunity there. And I definitely want to diversify the flavors that we got.
Cool. So I'm really into cooking and baking, and my wife is like super into baking, like thousands of Christmas cookies and all kinds of stuff. Were you always into baking and cooking and this kind of stuff, or was it born from another, dimension?
So this weird obsession with food happened in like university, where I started this Instagram page called Erica's Foodie. And I think my roommates used to make fun of me because I would literally make a meal and then I would go next to the window with my plate and my phone and like take an Instagram picture and post on my Instagram for every single thing that I ate. And then I got really curious about like recipe development and better for you food. So I would make like pudding out of avocado, like really weird things that tasted good, didn't taste healthy, but they were healthy. And then as I got more into fitness and did bodybuilding, there were a lot of things that I couldn't eat, like cookie dough. And I started like just throwing random stuff in a bowl, adding protein to everything, made a cookie dough that I could eat. And then now what's packaged and sold is somewhat of a version of what I used to make for myself. But that's kind of where it came from, is me wanting to like eat better, live better, know what I'm putting in my body. And I guess, yeah, starting to really care about my health.
Cool. Another quick question. So as a young entrepreneur and a CEO, looking back over the journey you've had, and I'm sure whether they're watching now, or I'm sure you have a lot of people who, come to you asking questions, are there 2 or 3 key pieces of advice that you would give, yourself, if you could look back and give yourself those pieces of advice?
I like that question.
It's a good question. I think one big one is like, think about scaling sooner than later. I'm kind of the person who flies by the seat of her pants, and you can't really do that when you have a business. You have to plan. And I think while it's good to like take it day by day and live in the moment and not get too hung up on the future, like you need to like plan for the future and like, what would it look like if I outgrow this operations and need to take the next step? Like kind of have that all planned out. Because it took me a long time to find a co-packer. It took me a long time to reformulate. Like I could be so much further along if I had just planned a little bit better. And then the other thing is just like asking for help. Like I went a year in like having my business and not asking for help because I was so stubborn. And even like I had a friend who like he saw me struggling in the kitchen. I would literally screw on lids until my hands bled in the kitchen. And I would come home and then he's like, I can help you. And I'm like, no, it's fine. Like, I don't want to burden anyone, or I can do it. It's fine. And then he came to the kitchen with me and we did double the amount. And I was like, why didn't I do this sooner? Like, it's so frustrating to me. Like, I had to have those moments. Same with having an employee come on. Like, I finally had an employee and then he took all this work off my plate. And I was like, wow, I can actually like think creatively and focus on the business growth and work on the business instead of in the business. So I think those are 2 big things, I think. And I know it's pretty common with a lot of people.
Yep. Absolutely.
Those are great. So talk a little bit about Grow with Erica, because you've turned your success from TikTok and growing organically through TikTok into a business in and of itself. So what's Grow with Erica?
So that kind of came to be like 6 months ago-ish. Every week I was getting probably a dozen brands reaching out to me, asking me how to get on TikTok and how to grow on there. And I think we're seeing a huge shift now. Everyone's kind of moving away from Instagram and Facebook, and they're like, we need to get on TikTok. There's so much opportunity there. And no one really knows how to master it. So I kind of spent the whole pandemic like, I don't know if you guys remember Clubhouse, but I would go into rooms and talk with other TikTok creators and just like study the platform, learn about the platform, and then just like trial things, and got really good at it. And now I do like consulting for brands with TikTok. And then I'm also going to branch out and help with other social media platforms like Instagram. LinkedIn is a huge one. And I think a lot of people miss that opportunity. Like there's so much potential there. So that's kind of what I do now, is just help brands get seen without spending thousands of dollars on ads a month. And while that's great, there's so much more you can do with organic reach if you just do it correctly, right?
Absolutely. And the key, beyond knowing a platform, so many people get caught up in, well, how do I do it? Right? There's that. But what would you say the key is beyond that on any social media or networking platform?
I guess like the thing that I see a lot of is people come to me and they're like, I want to blow up, but I don't want to put my face behind the camera. I just want to post product photos. And I'm like, well, you and every other business can do that. So I think like right now, like 2022, like there's so much competition. There's so many companies that have kind of emerged during the pandemic, especially like direct to consumer. Like, how are you going to differentiate yourself? And I think by building out a community and like connecting with your customers on a more personable, deeper level, like that's kind of what I show people how to do. I'm like, okay, well, I could tell you to do A, B, C, D, but you actually like need to put in the effort and, care about what you're doing and what you're putting out there and adding value and not just sales. Because if people want to buy your stuff, they're going to go buy it on their own will. They're not going to buy it because you're telling them to. So I think people forget that sometimes, you know?
Yep.
I love this woman. I love it. Absolutely love it. Yeah. I've gone through, and once I learned about you and found you on TikTok, followed you, started looking back, authenticity, vulnerability, documenting what you're doing, and talking to me as the person who's consuming your content as if I'm part of the journey. I mean, to me, that's the gold.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
Love it.
Thank
What
you.
else we got, gentlemen? Anything else for Erica?
I was gonna say it's been fun. I've been part of the journey, so
Thank you. Yeah, I
Yeah.
love you guys. I appreciate it.
Yeah.
It's been a wild ride.
I first connected to you on LinkedIn when you had 2,000 or 3,000 followers, I remember.
Oh wow.
So,
Oh, really?
yeah, I think
thank you.
I messaged you, and I was asking you about, launching a company and being a young entrepreneur, because I've always been entrepreneurial, and we talked back and forth for a little while. And I think it's interesting, something you just said, and Mark, the question you asked, you enjoy being in front of the camera now, it seems anyway, but you said you didn't when you were younger. And I think that is like one of people's biggest fears, is like public speaking or being in front of the camera. Do you have any, for people who want to get their brand out, who want to get, themselves out as a brand, are there any things that you did to overcome that, and like tips that you would give somebody to help them? Because I think that's a huge fear that people have.
Yeah, I think just like understanding that even like the big influencers or creators that you see on social media, they were never like that, right? Like they had to start somewhere. And even like a lot of public speakers that I talk to now, they still get like nervous, and sometimes they goof up and they're anxious, and like no one has it all figured out, even though it might look very polished on the outside. Like people are dying on the inside sometimes, including me, honestly. Like I did my first couple of public speaking events and I thought I was going to die. So that stuff's still really hard for me, but I do it. And the more you do it, the better you get at it. So I think just like tackling it on head on, FaceTiming friends, getting used to seeing your face like on Zoom and stuff, posting videos like on stories, like on Instagram, going on lives. And then also, this is a huge one, is like put videos out, but don't watch them 9,000 times before you post them, because you won't post them. Because it's like the whole bungee jumping thing. Like I tie it back to this. It's like I went bungee jumping last summer, and like you'd see people go up there and they'd look, and then they'd be like 1, 2, 3, and they wouldn't jump. And every single person that didn't jump on that first countdown walked down. They did the walk of shame. They couldn't jump. So you just have to post it. You just have to like film it and post it and not rewatch it, because you're going to criticize yourself and then you're going to end up not posting it. And that's what I hear from a lot of people, is they're so critical of themselves. But done is better than perfect. You're going to put out content and you're going to suck. Like I sucked at the beginning. We're really hard on ourselves too as humans, So just accepting that, and then understanding that you're going to get better and it's going to take time. So
Yep. Remembering that we're human. That's awesome advice. Thank you for that. I think a lot of people will appreciate that advice.
Definitely. All right, let's end on this. 3, 5, 10 years. Where would you like to see Brodo?
I want it to be like a household name. I want like moms packing like little Brodo snacks in their kids' lunches. And I want like, like a grade 5 kid pulling out like, oh, I got Brodo for lunch, Like I think that's kind of the vision. And I just want to continue building it out and launching other products as well, not just cookie dough. So
Amazing.
I'll take some Brodo for lunch.
Yeah.
I'll take some Brodo for lunch.
Yeah, I need some for when I go mountain biking, road biking, go to the gym. It sounds like a good alternative to nasty, chalky protein bars and things like that. So I'm looking forward to trying some.
We may need to find a reason to make a trip to Canada before 2023 comes around.
Yeah, or hopefully by then I can get it to you guys. I'm trying to figure that out. I'm working hard.
Good deal. Well, Erica, on behalf of Bill and Julian, thank you so much for your time. Best of luck. Keep plugging away. You've got friends here, so just keep it up. We're proud. We hardly know you personally, but we're proud of you.
Yeah, absolutely.
Thank you. It means a lot to me. I appreciate you guys. Thanks for having me on.
No, thank you for being on. It was a lot of fun.
Thanks everyone for joining Industry of Impact, and we will see you again. I think in a week we got another one. Keep your eyes open. Thanks again, Erica. Have a good day.
Thanks.
Bye, Erica.